I'll admit it. I was guilty. Guilty of underestimating a country I thought I already knew through history books, war documentaries, and secondhand stereotypes. Vietnam. The word alone had conjured images of motorbike chaos, conical hats and rice paddies, and a war that ended before IWA's even born. But nothing prepared me for the Vietnam I actually met. The air hit me first, thick, warm, perfumed with street food smoke, fish sauce, exhaust fumes, and the faint sweetness of jackfruit sold by a woman crouched on the curb. The soundscape was relentless, scooters buzzing like a beehive, vendors shouting prices, and in the distance, a temple bell that rang like a warning. I laughed nervously, not understanding. But later, those words would haunt me, Dot. Because what I saw in the days and weeks to come would shatter everything I thought I knew about travel, culture, and even economics. Vietnam wasn't just surviving, it was rewriting its story in real time. Ancient and modern, poor yet rich, chaotic but orchestrated. It was a place that felt like standing inside a paradox and watching it dance. So, before we dive in, subscribe now because what you're about to see will rewrite your map of the world. And watch till the end because the final revelation will change how you see travel forever. Here's the first shock. Vietnam's economy isn't limping, it's sprinting. For outsiders, the assumption is simple. Post-war scars, developing nation struggling to keep up. But step into a local market at dawn, and you see precision, discipline, and an economy in motion. At Ben Thanh Market, a vendor shouted numbers faster than I could process, calculating change before the buyer had even handed over the bills. A teenager, maybe 17, balanced 3 smartphones in his palm, flipping between live stream sales, messaging customers, and scanning QR payments like it was second nature. This wasn't chaos. It was choreography. One report says Vietnam is among the fastest growing economies in Asia, with annual GDP growth hovering around 6-7% estimate. And you feel it, not in charts, but in the urgency of people's footsteps, in the construction cranes painting the skyline, in the young entrepreneurs sipping iced coffee while coding apps at 2 a.m. cafes. And that's when it hit me. The noise, the speed, their relentless energy. It wasn't disorder. It was strategy. If that shocks you, hit subscribe now. Because the deeper I went, the stranger and more inspiring the story became. Hanoi is a contradiction you can touch. The air still hums with echoes of French colonial boulevards, Confucian temples, and revolutionary posters peeling on damp walls. But then you see teenagers on e-bikes zooming past 1,000-year-old pagodas, earbuds in, TikTok live streaming their breakfast. I wandered into the Temple of Literature, the country's first university. Stone steles carved with scholars' names stood silent, guardians of ancient wisdom. Yet, outside its gates, a group of university students pitched me their startup idea, a heritage app using AI to translate temple inscriptions in real time for tourists. History wasn't being preserved behind glass. It was being remixed into the future. The food was the same story. Bowls of bun cha, charcoal-grilled pork and noodles, served on low stools beside a QR code menu taped to the wall. A grandmother ladled broth while her grandson updated their delivery orders online. Past and future simmering together. If Hanoi whispers tradition, Ho Chi Minh City screams ambition. The skyline looks like it's trying to compete with Singapore. Glass towers, neon lights, rooftop bars pulsing with electronic music. But beneath the surface, the same heartbeat, hustle. The city's tech scene is exploding. I met a group of coders in District 3 working out of a converted French villa. They were building blockchain payment systems for rural farmers. We're not Silicon Valley, one of them told me. We're Mekong Valley. At night, the city transforms. Nguyen Hue Walking Street floods with families, couples, skaters, and performers. A street magician pulled a coin from behind my ear and winked. And he wasn't wrong. From late-night food stalls selling banh mi to digital startups chasing unicorn dreams, Saigon felt like capitalism on rocket fuel. Then the Delta. palm trees bending over muddy rivers, women rowing boats with the rhythm of centuries. I watched farmers harvest rice with bare hands, their feet sinking into flooded paddies. Tradition, timeless and patient. But just an hour away, in Can Tho, young traders huddled in co-working cafes, running e-commerce shops shipping everything from dragon fruit to sneakers across Asia. One farmer I met pulled out his smartphone and showed me how he sells rice directly to urban buyers using Affintech app. He grinned. My grandfather sold rice to middlemen. I sell rice to the world. The contrast was breathtaking. Buffalo carts and blockchain. Lotus ponds and logistics apps. Vietnam wasn't choosing between past and future. It was daring to hold both at once. And trust me, watch till the end, because this paradox is only the beginning. Vietnam isn't an isolated story, it's a global thread. Its textiles and electronics fuel supply chains from Tokyo to New York. Coffee from the Central Highlands powers cafes in Paris. And its film industry, often overshadowed by neighbors, produces hundreds of movies each year, rivaling Western studios in output estimate. The war defined how the world once saw Vietnam. But today, trade defines it. Reports say the U.S. is now one of Vietnam's largest export partners, while European companies pour investment into its factories. And when remittances from Vietnamese overseas flow back home, they don't vanish into savings. They seed businesses, fund education, fuel innovation. So if you thought Vietnam was just a memory of conflict, subscribe now. Because what's happening here is a blueprint for the future. There's a moment in Hoi An when you let go of your assumptions. Lanterns drift on the river, glowing like fireflies against the dark. Monks chant in the distance. Tourists release wishes into the water. And in the same streets, fashion designers live stream their collections and coders sip bubble tea while debugging. Vietnam is a country where ancient philosophies breathe beside futuristic ambition, where the teachings of Confucius echo in classrooms while AI startups race for global contracts, where dragon dances and 5G towers share the skyline. As I drifted among the lanterns, I realized this wasn't just a journey through a country. It was a journey through time itself. Vietnam forced me to ask, what does it mean to progress? Is development a copy-paste from the West? Or is it something more daring, becoming more of yourself more intensely, more vividly? And here's the thing, this was only the beginning. The real revelation, the one that shook me most, was still waiting. So watch till the end, because the final truth about Vietnam will change how you see the world. Vietnam doesn't fit into tidy narratives. It isn't copying Silicon Valley or Beijing or Paris. It's writing its own rules of development. A place where contradictions aren't weaknesses, but strengths. Where traffic chaos hides an invisible rhythm. Where street vendors and startups belong to the same economy. The lesson I carried home wasn't about Vietnam being the next anything. It was about Vietnam daring to be itself. Fierce! Restless. Beautifully complicated. And she was right. This country isn't trying to be another nation. It's becoming more of itself. And that might be the most shocking thing of all. Subscribe if you believe travel should challenge your assumptions, not just confirm them. Drop a comment. What surprised you most about Vietnam? Share this video because someone you know still underestimates this place.